MCP or CLI, which is better? So if you're dealing with agents, AI agents, you've probably come across MCP servers at some point. So what this is, it's called Model Context Protocol, and what this allows agents to do is to connect to external systems. To say you've got an external system and they want AI agents to be able to access it, they'll build themselves an MCP server, which is a known pattern for calling these services an agent can call. And these are very widely used, and they're relatively new. So they were invented by Anthropic, I think it was late 2024, and they've become an adopted standard, and people use them all of the time now. So CLI has been around for God knows how long, almost since the beginning of computers, I would say. So what it stands for is command line interface. And what it is, you know, you see like when you're watching things on TV, people are there just typing into code, and there's like code coming past and there's like things happening. That's a command line interface where you're just typing into a terminal, or it's called a terminal where you type, to execute commands on your computer without using a window and a mouse and clicking on things. But the beauty of these CLIs is it means that agents can type into them too relatively easily. Just as you would see, just a normal person would do, just like typing in and hitting enter. So they've got different uses. An MCP server, they're custom made for the service that you're trying to call. Like an example would be, I use Linear as a tool for tracking my projects, and my agents use it to track their tasks. And they've got an MCP server that my agents call into to organise their work and say when things are done, when stuff's in progress. But Linear have built that MCP server, and it's fairly chunky, and they need to maintain it. And it also does mean that my agents, if they want to use it, every time they want to use it, they have to look at how that MCP server is structured. Where with CLI, like a good example is Git. Git is a CLI. It was built originally as a CLI, so that's sort of going back along many years. And agents just know how to do it. The LLMs know it inside out, so they don't have to look up any documentation. They just know what to do, which means that it's a lot more token efficient to use a CLI. So it depends on your uses, and it depends on what you're trying to do. But I would tend to lean these days towards the CLI. And another massive thing that matters is if you are doing your work on a server, or if you're doing your work on a local machine. A CLI only really works, well, it works best. It can work on a server, but it works best if you're using it on your local machine, because you can then get access to, you know, your file systems, things like Git, which works well on your local machine. Anything you can do on your local machine, you can even control your operating system through a CLI. So they work really well on your local machine. Whereas MCP, they're a little bit more contained, and you can run them safely on your remote servers, because they're essentially just a wrapper for an external service. So it's a lot safer to run them on an external service. So you're building like a web app, and you've got an agent that runs on your servers. Using MCP is relatively safe, but if you give your agent running on your server access to some CLIs, that can actually give it access, and it can take control of your server if someone does something nefarious. So if you're running something on a server, unless it's really locked down and sandboxed, you probably want to be looking at MCPs over CLIs. So I said, what's better, MCP or CLI? And I would say CLIs when you can, because they're a lot more lightweight and the agents tend to know them. An MCP in an untrusted environment where a CLI might cause problems. So yeah, go out and make some cool shit.